All right, so this is one of the more interesting bluing olive patterns I've been asked to tie. I had someone message me and then send me a picture of this fly, and it's they fish it up in the northeast of the United States in late season, so the fall time. And I didn't have that rust-colored antron that they used for the wing post, so I just used some rust-colored snowshoe rabbit. It came out about the same. I do like the messiness of this, so anyway, we'll tie this up. It's a nice little pattern. So I've got a size 14 in the vise. That's what they asked me to tie it on. I'm using 30 denier GSP. This is a Thorax based pattern, so we're going to start our thread right in the center of the fly. Trim out. Always interesting to see what different people from around the world fish at different times of years, or different times of the year, I should say. So for the tail, I've just got this nice mottled pheasant. We don't need much. Well, 5 or 6 fibers. The way this fly is structured, and I haven't fished this, but I imagine this is more of an emerging pattern as opposed to a dry fly. It'll work. We'll bring this up, just tie it into our thorax. But you could, there's things you could do to make it more of a dry fly type pattern as opposed to an emerging BWO. The colors are interesting though. I haven't seen any colors like that. He actually pulled this pattern out of a Field and Stream magazine. So we'll move over to my snowshoe rabbit. I'll take a little bit off of here. Can't do that in front of the camera very well with this stuff. So just kind of clean out a little bit of the underfur. I don't want to pluck it too much because I'll lose my wing. And I'm going to go for about the length of the shank, maybe a little less. Let's do a pin trap and put a few turns in. Lift that wing up. A few more to the back. I just want to make sure that it's centered so that it's actually a thorax style parachute. Once we have that tied in, we can just come and clip this off at a little bit of an angle. And we'll tie this in, go into the back. I'll pull it back up front and then do my and then do my wraps for the post. Snowshoe can be a little difficult to use for a post, so you got to really take your time to get it seated. Something like that should work. Okay. Now we'll bring this back down to our tail. Now the blend I'm using is olive hare's mask with a little bit of pheasant tail colored ice dub and a little bit of an olive brown colored ice dub. And I'm not super concerned whether or not the ice dub's going to be real prevalent here. Just so that, you maybe get a hint of it here and there. So we'll start from the back and bring this forward. Okay, that's good. I'll just put one wrap over the front. I can remove my dubbing. And I didn't actually have a recipe for this pattern. It was just a picture, so I'm going just off the picture. But so what I have here for the hackle, for the parachute, is a it's a custom dyed. It's kind of a olive brown grizzly hackle. It's gauged right about a size 14. And I'm going to go ahead and remove some barbs going up the one side. And then so for this thorax pattern, what I like to do is take my stem that's going to be wrapped against the post, have about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 or so, something along those lines, and bring that up in a higher elevation opposed to the side that's going to flare. And then when I go to line it out with the side that's going to flare, I line that up at the top of my parachute post at an angle, and then I can wrap back into it. And so as I come around to tie it in, oops, I missed it. Slick thread, slick material. But I do like the GSP for a lot of things. But I can tie that smaller side to the post. I'm a little long on my stem here. Just cut that back a little bit, and I can just tie this in without a problem. Come back, and now I can go back to my dubbing, and we'll dub the front, and then we'll invert the fly to actually tie the post, or I'm sorry, tie the hackle. I like to cross wrap back and forth around that post to just ensure that I've got everything covered well. It's a bit of a messy fly, which is, it's kind of fun. We tie so many things that we want to look just spot on nice, and in reality, a lot of the times it's these messier flies that are the ones that go and hit home runs for you. So I was actually kind of excited when I saw the pattern. I was like, wow, that's pretty neat, because I just hadn't seen that before done this way. It's kind of interesting to see that it came out of a Field and Stream as well. And we don't have to be super perfect. Again, this is kind of a messy pattern. Just a little bit more. And then we'll do a colored wet whip to finish this guy up. Let's draw that to the back, and we can groom this towards the end if you're not happy with how messy it is or anything. You can always get rid of some stuff right now too. So I'm just going to take my black marker, color my thread a little bit, and then take my super glue and run it right on there. And just put in a small head. got a little glue in the eye there. Just happen to have some a spool of extra small wire sitting here. Sorry for the bugs flying around that are having fun this nice fall night. That's going to be too small. It's not going to go through. I'll move to something a little stiffer. Clean that out. I may have to poke it in a minute after I finish the fly. The ink in that super glue sets up super fast, which is one of the reasons why I like it. But every once in a while, like, it hasn't done this to me on a dozen of these so far, and of course I go to shoot the video and it does it to me. Of course. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so now we'll invert the fly. But a fun little pattern to, play around with. I'm going to start my thread back on the post. Just very gingerly put in 3 wraps. I'm going to twist my tag around my thread, or around my bobbin. I'm going to do it again a second time. Kind of pull tight. Now I can trim this out. Need to reseat that just a little bit. There we go. And now I'm going to work this coming out and around. Whoops. We don't need many turns here. So as I go across, I had somebody ask me this the other day about the inversion part of tying off a parachute. So if you turn it around and you actually use your rotary function, you can, let's see if I can do it so you can see it. You can sneak your thread in and lift. It's a little bit harder to do with all this crap in my way, but there we go. You can kind of maneuver your thread down and around, come underneath and lift so that it comes up. And if you have 1 or 2 sticking out at the bottom, we can cut those off later. Again, this is a pretty messy fly. So sometimes duplicating what somebody sends you is, again, it's fun because it's not the same old stuff. And so, alright, now I've got my turns around. I'm going to place one more underneath. That's going to trap it all down and lift those up. And work it up top. A little bit easier to do when you don't have a camera in your way. And then, like I do with all my parachutes now, I didn't, but now I just color my thread, wipe some glue on there, and I'll just continue to go along the base of the post and just glue it shut. If you get a good super glue, there's really no need to whip finish these things. hold tight. All that glue soaks into that GSP like it's no one's business, to be honest with you. Okay. These take a little effort, but at the end of the day, it's a nice fly. Again, very interesting colors. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. If you got anything sticking out and straggling, just a couple this time. I don't want to clean this up too much. It's meant to be messy. There you go. So you have I wish I knew what the name of it was, or who actually even invented the fly, but it's like a BWO thorax pattern. Definitely in the emerger style with the way that it's tied. It's not going to float all day. Swing it down a little bit, but anyway, so there you go. If you liked the video, as always, appreciate a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. And as always, everybody, happy tying, take care, and we'll see you next time.